This talk today is going to be about blogging and content management systems. And as you can see, it's going to be for smart people because we're all smart people, right? It's not like that, book for dummies series. How many of you currently have a blog? Okay, perfect. So this talk actually is going to tailor pretty good for a good majority of you. So today we have three goals, three very simple goals. We're going to start off today by talking about very common blogging terms. So far today you've already heard Gala Darling's great morning keynote. How many of you were able to be here in time for the keynote and heard a good portion of it, at least? Okay, good. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the terms that were thrown out and some additional things. And at the end, if there's anything I don't cover and you have questions with, don't feel bad about asking. Definitely. I want this to be more of an interactive session. In fact, if I'm talking about something, you have any questions whatsoever, by all means, just scream, kick, shout, throw something at me, do whatever, and we'll stop and we'll try to answer your questions to the best of our ability. We'll then jump into blogging platforms, and I'll talk about some of the most common blogging platforms. We'll talk about the big five, and then we'll start covering some of the other ones that are really starting to gain momentum out there in the blogging world. And then finally, we're going to set up a blog. But the blog we're going to set up today is going to be pretty interesting because we're going to set up a microblog. And so if you haven't already have a blog set up, it's going to be a pretty good tool so you can see how to actually get set up and start blogging. And it's a pretty good tool to start jump-starting what a future blog would look like if you have plans on building out an entire blog. So let's start off with some common blogging terms. A blog. And you're going to see a lot of these are going to be pretty short and simple, but we're going to talk about them a little bit more. So a blog is short for weblog or an online dictionary. When blogs first started becoming popular, believe it or not, it was going back as early as 1993. And blogs back then were known as zines, short for magazine. It was a way for someone to put together a series of articles or a series of posts, so to speak, that they would like available online for viewers to read. So they would put together these zines and have others come to those posts to be able to read them. And then, of course, that then translated into what we know today as a blog. So a post is actually an entry for an online blog. So a lot of times you'll hear people say, hey, I just posted this, or a blog post. Believe it or not, if you really take a step back and you take a look at what you're doing every day, how many of you use Facebook? Okay, pretty much everybody. So think about what you're doing on Facebook. That's very similar to a blog. It really is. In fact, Facebook was actually set up initially by the University of Hartford for them to start blogging and sharing information between students. It started off as a big hot or not type contest and quickly turned into a student project that they used to communicate between students and between departments. And that kept growing and growing and growing. So everybody that is using Facebook today, they don't realize, but technically you can call that a blog because you do have more of like an About Me page. You do post things, you're posting pictures, you're posting updates. A lot of times you're posting some additional information that you're not sharing anywhere else. And of course, this is starting to expand out into other social media type applications or Web 2.0 applications such as Twitter and Pinterest. And people are now starting to use applications like Foursquare to check in at locations. So if any of you right now are using Foursquare on your phones, by all means, I'll give everybody 30 seconds to pick up their phone and go check into NEPA BlogCon 2012 here. All right. No, I want you to pay attention to me, but definitely, social media is really starting to pick up. And so this is why blogging is becoming more and more important, especially you as an individual. So there's going to be many presentations today, and we'll talk about some of those later on. But some of the presentations that will be going on today, you're going to hear different things and different reasons on why you should put together a blog and how important it is for you to get what you're thinking, what your message is out there. Tags and categories. A lot of times you'll visit a website and you'll see this grouping of a bunch of words over to the side that this is tags. Basically what these are keywords for someone to identify a particular post. So I may put out a post today with some pictures of the event and just giving my overall thoughts today about the event, and I may tag it, for instance, as event. So if someone came to my site and they want to see, hey, what kind of events has Jason been to lately or has spoken at lately, they'd click on event and they would get the listing of all the different events or all the posts that I have related to event. So that's used quite commonly, especially when we get to this next term, which is called RSS. So before I jump into RSS, going back to tags, tags are extremely important because, like I said, it allows bloggers to categorize their posts that they're making online. What we can do with RSS is we can actually either return back a list of all of our blog posts or just specific posts based on those tags, and we can provide a count. RSS is actually very technical. It actually stands for really simple syndication. There's many different definitions for the acronym, but that's the most common. RSS is actually in an XML format for your blog posts to be shared with other online sources. Most of the more common blog applications out there and CMS applications have this functionality all already built in. And to enable this, it's as simple as a checkbox when you go into your settings, or it may be already enabled by default, and you may simply not be able to turn it off. Sometimes another format for RSS is this thing called Atom. Sometimes you'll hear of something called an Atom feed. It's also referred to very often as, hey, can I grab your, your feed from your blog? You'll hear just the term feed being thrown around. But how many of you use Google Reader or like Microsoft Outlook or something? Okay. So whether you're using Google Reader or Microsoft Outlook, they can all read RSS feeds. So if you have a bunch of bloggers that you are following, you could subscribe to their feeds, to their RSS feeds, and every single time they get a new post, those posts come into the application, and you can stay on top of everything that's going on their blog without having to go out and visit their blog on the internet. CMS. So you've heard this term CMS being thrown around. And it actually, CMS quite often gets confused with another acronym with CMS that people use in the enterprise world called Contact Management System. But the CMS we're referring to is actually Content Management System. And what we mean by this is it's a system or an application that's developed that's going to allow us to modify all the content for a particular website. So this may include blog posts, images, and overall layout. Could also do other really cool things such as themes. We can add on forums. We can add on special pages like surveys and do some really cool and crazy things. For those of you that have blogs set up, how many of you are using WordPress? Okay, a couple of you. Blogger? Okay, a couple of you. Some other blog application? Okay. So those, as you can see, are going to be the two more popular ones. WordPress, for instance, out of the box, if you go to the WordPress site, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, it is actually a CMS, but it's set up out of the box as being a blog application. We can take that application and go a step further and enable some of the additional features. Of course, there's a premium to pay for that. Some features are available out of the box, but the majority of them you do have to pay for. What a lot of companies do is, as a blog gets bigger, sometimes it doesn't make sense to host right within the application like WordPress.com or Blogger.com. So they'll take that blog application and they'll either install it on their own web servers or they'll host it somewhere else. And we actually have a sponsor, one of our primary sponsors for NEPA BlogCon here today, NEPA Geeks. They do a lot of hosting of web different blogs. So definitely check them out if you're looking to go down the hosted route. So let's talk about blog platforms. And you can see right here I just have a list of 10 random icons for blogging platforms and CMS. Trust me, there are hundreds, if not thousands more of right here on the list. So WordPress is by far the most popular. It's been rumored that over 50% of all the websites or all the more popular blog engines are hosted on WordPress. And some of that information comes from a really good source online called Technorati. What they do is they actually capture the top 100 blog or the top 100 blog websites based on traffic. And if you click through and you check out the different blog engines they're using, some of this information comes from them. WordPress has a lot of capabilities that can be extended if hosted away from WordPress. You could do a lot of customization out of the box. You can do customization on the WordPress site, but you can also, if you install it locally, add some additional things and really integrate it with other bits of functionality. WordPress now also hosts a product from Microsoft called Windows Live Spaces. If you had a Hotmail address, and I think everybody back in the day either had a Hotmail or an AOL address, but if you had a Hotmail address, Hotmail at one point was converted over to this thing called Windows Live Spaces. And what they were doing was they were trying to build their own blog engine for users of their service to be able to post blogs. Well, they realized that they could not compete with WordPress, so they actually moved all of their blogs over to the WordPress system. And as I mentioned already, WordPress has both a pay and a free version. So if you're looking to get set up, definitely check out a blog like WordPress. You'll see this indicator up in the upper left-hand corner, and you'll see when we get further along on the 5 slides from now, you'll see that I have a bunch of blog engines shown on the slide. This will show you the difficulty of actually getting it set up and configured to start making your first post. Some of these systems, as we walk through, are going to be extremely difficult because they have some high customization capabilities. Some of them, such as WordPress, they do have some high customization capabilities, but it's pretty easy to get set up if you just want to start making your very first post. Blogger is the second most common. And part of the reason why Blogger is so common is because Google, which now owns Blogger, had also purchased another company called Blogspot. So Blogspot is now part of Google. One of the really cool things with Blogger, and we actually have someone here today that will be presenting, I believe it's 2 sessions from now, on all things Google. His name is Jason Valenti. He actually works for Google. So he'll dive a little bit more into this. But Blogger actually integrates with Google+. So if any of you use Google's alternative, which is kind of what it's known out there in the industry, to Facebook, if you use Google+, definitely check this out, because what this allows you to do is see posts more socially with people that are within your circles. In addition, there is some other capabilities that go along with it in integrating and getting your post to post directly over to Google+ to your circles, not just seeing what other friends are doing. There's limited theme support and a lack of overall customization, but if you're looking to just really get out there and get started and you want to make your first post, definitely check out Blogger. One thing to note is Blogger is really just a blog engine. It really is not a full-blown content management system. So if you're looking to do some additional things, let's say you own a business or you want to put up some additional things like a photo gallery, you probably don't want to look at Blogger by itself unless you know all of your friends and families are part of the Google+, and then you can integrate some features with that. You definitely want to take a look at something else. But Blogger is 100% free. The third most popular blog engine is something called Typepad. Typepad is gaining momentum as one of the more popular blog platforms. Apologize. One of the top reasons on why it's so popular is the theme customization. They have some really crazy things you can do with themes, and you can actually pick your colors right within the settings. They have a pretty cool integrated color picker, and they have some really cool features that go along with it. So definitely check that out. The only thing is Typepad only has pay models. So if you're looking to just, again, get something set up, just start to get your feet wet, you probably want to take a look at one of the first 2 before you would take a look at this. But definitely Typepad is a very solid blogging system. Movable Type is probably one of the most widely known, and at one point was regarded as the most popular blog engines, and it has been slowly slipping. Reason being is WordPress, for instance, WordPress wasn't released until 2003. Movable Type was already on version 3 by 2003. And so part of the problem is since 2003, there's only been 2 major versions. Now they have released a minor version, actually I think it was just a week ago, version 5.2. But that's been their primary issue, is getting different versions out. And part of it is because the company that actually owns Movable Type is called 6 Apart. And 6 Apart had started had purchased some additional blog companies or blog engines, one of them being Typepad, which we just talked about, and one of them being the next blog engine I'm going to show you in a minute, LiveJournal. Movable Type has both an open source and a free version, so you can run either or. But like I said, it has been around for quite some time. LiveJournal, again, this is a pretty easy one to set up. LiveJournal is only available online. Over 50% of all of LiveJournal's traffic is from the US, but kind of strangely, 20% of its traffic is actually coming from Russia. So depending on the type of blog you're setting up, you may be able to drive some traffic to your site, depending on what kind of content you have on there, just knowing statistics like this. So throughout the day, again, you're going to be hearing from different presenters, different ways to set up your blog and different audiences that you're looking to target. So if you're looking to just blog about different things going on with your family, you won't necessarily care about these kind of things. But if there's a specific topic you're really interested in, for instance, food, these kind of pieces of information are pretty helpful when you're moving forward to set up your blog. One other thing that LiveJournal has is they have a pretty interesting thing called Friends, which allows you to subscribe to friends' blogs right within its own service. So you can connect to other people who are on LiveJournal, add them to your friends list, and friends is kind of a very loose term, and it has been confused quite often with the way friends work on Facebook. But when you add them to your friends list, you will actually see an RSS feed rendering on your blog, so you can actually see the blog posts that your friends are posting right within your own blog. So definitely something, if you're interested in something like that, definitely check that out. We're going to skip over this top one over here on the left-hand side for now. That's a little icon for Tumblr. And part of the reason why we're going to skip over that is because before we end today, we're going to set up a Tumblr blog, which is a microblog. This next one down is Squarespace. Again, they're another popular blog engine. According to the 2011 statistics, they were 7th on the list. The rest of these that you'll see here, with the exception of Posteris, they're actually owned now by Twitter, and they're another microblogging engine very similar to Tumblr. But the other 3 are actually more hardcore content management systems. The bottom one over there on the left is the icon for Joomla. And so if you're looking to really blow out and add something like maybe an online store as well as some blog posts, let's say maybe at home you're dabbling and you have some wood carvings or something like that you would like to start selling online. You could put together a blog, talk about some of the techniques that you're using, as well as put up an online store and be able to start selling those things. The one up here on the top is an application called Drupal. That is, again, gaining quite a bit of momentum. It is one of the more popular ones right now, especially when comparing things back to WordPress. And the bottom one is really starting to gain a lot of momentum. In fact, this year they had their first conference out in California, and it's called Orchard. You'll see on the chairs that when you came in, you had these little stickers. Unfortunately, they were the only stickers I had. I wish I had stickers for all the blog engines, but I did have stickers for those. That's actually for Orchard. That's what I'm running on my blog and for my website. Out of the box, it does offer really quick. You could set something up and make some posts, and it does offer some customization. Depending on how much you want to set up with it, it has been known to be a little difficult, especially when comparing the application to something like WordPress or Blogger. So let's talk about setting up our Tumblr blog. So first of all, what is Tumblr? So Tumblr is a microblogging system that allows its members to blog. So we're going to see here in a second, we're going to jump out, I'm going to hop back here, and we're going to go into a quick demo and we're going to go through the process of setting up a Tumblr blog. So I've already opened up, and this should, sorry, I had to, okay, should be coming up here in a second. Okay, yeah, perfect. So as you can see here, I'm visiting Tumblr. And up in the right-hand corner, I know it's kind of difficult to see because of the way the projector is projecting on the screen, but you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's a login button and a cancel button. When we first visit Tumblr, if we've never set up a blog before, it will immediately take us to the sign-up page. So from here, we're going to be able to start signing up and creating ourselves a Tumblr microblog. So I'm going to put in an email address that I had set up specifically for this event. And I'm going to put in a password, and I'm going to choose a, it's telling me I need a longer password. There we go, test1234, in case anybody wants to hack my, my new Tumblr account. Don't tell anybody though. Okay, so we're going to set up this Tumblr blog. And you'll see the next thing it will say is, how old am I? Okay, let's see. I think I'm, I don't know, I think I'm like 21. So I'm going to put 21. And continue. And then it's going to ask me to put in some words from a caption image. And I'm sure a lot of you, whenever you go to a website, you're kind of annoyed by these things already. Believe it or not, this is a pretty good way to prevent people from visiting a site and just automatically signing up and creating accounts programmatically, or coming to a website, and especially if there's a comment page, just constantly posting comments. That's one thing that you'll want to keep in mind when you're setting up your blog, is if you do allow comments on your blog, captchas are extremely important, or some way to verify that the person on the other end is human and it's not coming from some sort of application. The last thing you want is to show up to your website, click on one of your blogs and say, wow, I can't believe I have 50,000 comments, and then click on it and realize that all the links under it will take you to some sort of either terrorist site or pornography site or something like that. And many people have run into that mistake, so definitely check that out. I'm sorry? Yeah, there are. That's a good point. This particular format, by using 2 words in an image, has already been cracked. There's applications out there that can crack these methods. So you're starting to see other methods that are being released where there will be an image that maybe will say like 3 plus and 7 will be somewhere else, and they will say, please tell us the answer of this math problem. So if any of you, like me, failed, first grade math, you're going to fail that and you won't be able to get in. But I'll continue with this for now. You could see, wow, look at, I'm already in. And it's telling me, hey, you may want to follow some of these blogs. And I'm going to scroll down and say, no, I don't think so. Really don't want to follow any of these things. And yeah, for right now, I don't want to subscribe to anything, so just take me right to my dashboard. So again, it's very difficult to see on the screen across the top. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. But going across the top, you can faintly see right here the word Tumblr. Over here just a little bit further is a home icon, a messages icon, a help icon, and a log out button, as well as a search box for us to search tags. Underneath, this is going to allow me to pick an avatar. An avatar is one of the terms that we didn't have up there. But that is basically an image of either ourself or an image that would represent us. So a lot of times people will use a website called Gravatar, which allows you to create an avatar for yourself, a picture of yourself, and share that across applications. In this case, we can go ahead and pick one. We can upload, or we can just leave the default. For now, we're just going to leave the default because I have a feeling I have an ugly mug, so I don't want my picture out there. So the next thing we could do is we can either post some text, just a basic, hello world. We can add a photo, upload a photo, add a quote, post a link from a website or something we had found interesting. Go ahead and create some chat, upload some audio or some video. You can see right here it's actually telling me this is where I'm going to go ahead and create new posts. Down below it's going to say these are the posts from people that I follow. So right now I'm still going through the test process. So once I choose OK, I'm done. You could see, now you can kind of see the buttons a little better on top. I apologize, I actually thought they were grayed out a little bit more than that once we got to this page. But you can see that even though I chose not to follow anybody, Tumblr still decided to follow some people here for me. So if I go ahead and see what blog I'm following, you can see I'm following staff. I can immediately go in here and choose unfollow, click back on home, and eventually these posts, I'll definitely not see any more posts come back to the site. Let's say I wanted to see this post, for instance. This 36 right here is telling me how many comments were back on this post. I could either repost this to my blog. I can mark this as a favorite. So if I really like this post that this person has done, I can go ahead and choose that. And if I mouse over this little page flip over here, I can actually see when was this post made. So I can see it was posted at 10:13 this morning. So for now, what I'm going to do is I want to create my first post. So I'm going to choose upload a photo. And today, when everybody was participating and crammed in this room for the Q&A session with Gala Darling, you probably saw, my face peek around the corner, and you saw this phone sticking way up in the air, and I grabbed a quick shot. So we're going to hop in here, and we're going to let's grab that picture. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it and upload it, and I'm going to say, "Welcome from NEPA BlogCon." Okay. I can also choose a particular time when I want this posted. I could see if I'm posting this from a different source, I can put the URL for that source. I can also add tags. So I'm going to add something in here like event. And you can see as soon as I hit enter, it immediately encloses that tag. And I have a little X right here. So if I don't want that tag anymore, I can click the X and remove that tag from my post. So I could say event NEPA BlogCon and hit enter. I can also put in here a custom post URL. So I could say NEPA BlogCon dash Gala Darling QA. And I could also say, I want other people to be able to reply, but I want other people to be able to photo reply. So if any of you took pictures from the presentation this morning, you would actually be able to connect to this, upload your photo, and reply using photos as well. So we can actually build kind of like a photo gallery within our blog to cover this. I'm also going to check this thing that says promote this post. And you could see when I check this, there are $2 amounts here. I'm going to scoot up here. One that says pin this post, and one that says highlight this post. When we're using Tumblr, if we have friends that are subscribing to us, or if we have people who aren't necessarily subscribing to anybody, but are pulling in more of like a public feed in their dashboard, if we choose pin this post, our post is going to appear closer to the top on their dashboard. So they're more likely to click through to our post. So if we are really trying to get a lot of people to come to our site, drive a lot of traffic to our post, we can use that option. So on Tumblr, that costs us $5. We can also highlight this post in our list. And so that post will actually be highlighted in a color and will stand out a little bit more. and we can pay $2 to get that to happen. Or we can do our own marketing and not pay any of this, which is what we're going to do today because I'm a developer, so I'm dead broke. So let's continue on. And we're going to go ahead and create our posts. And let's see how long it takes on our wonderful Wi-Fi, and voila. There we go. There is our first post on our Tumblr blog. So you could see it's pretty easy to go ahead and get this all set up. We could see here's our picture from this morning. And here are our 2 tags that we created, event and NEPA BlogCon. And up at the top, we can either delete this post or we can go ahead and edit this post. Pretty easy. Okay, excellent. Great. So, much like before, we can go ahead and add a text post. So I can put in here, for instance, Jason's boring talk. Help me, I'm falling asleep. This dude fell off his rocker. And there you go. So again, very easy to use, very, very simple to use. Let's flip back over to our presentation and okay. Hey, good. Picked up. All right, so we already did the demo. Cool. Okay, so we saw that we were able to post to Tumblr using our website. We can also post to Tumblr using mobile apps. How many of you have a smartphone? How many of you have a dumb phone, like my mother-in-law likes to refer to them as? Excellent. Great. Don't let go of those, because as soon as you do, every single carrier in the world is going to try to charge you more. But no, seriously, if you do have a mobile phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android, already today there's a Tumblr app that will allow you to post to your Tumblr blog right from your phone, or you can also read other people's Tumblr blogs right from your phone. Tumblr has also announced just recently, I think it was within the past 2 weeks, that when Windows Phone 8 comes out in October and BlackBerry 10 comes out, supposed to be by the end of the year, if anybody in the world still uses BlackBerry and if they're still alive by then, that they will also have applications for Tumblr. Furthermore, what's really cool about Tumblr is they want people to know that, hey, even if you don't have a smartphone, or even if you don't want to visit our website and have to log in, you could still post using email. So if you get a really cool email with some pictures and you want to post them, you could easily forward it off to an email address. That email address will just grab the contents of the email and post it for you up on Tumblr. What's even crazier is Tumblr even has a phone number. So if you're out somewhere and you want to make a post and you're just thinking about some random thought and you're driving down the road, you can actually pick up the phone, dial a number, which is available directly on the Tumblr website, and we can actually place a call and make a post to Tumblr. And that will actually go directly into our account. So some pretty cool things we can do with Tumblr. Okay, so I want to jump into more of like a Q&A session here pretty soon, because you guys have been pretty quiet, and I want to make sure you're awake because there's a lot of sessions today, and everybody here paid hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars so they can bring people like me here today, right? Actually, just so you know, I'm not getting paid a cent. But there are some really cool sessions that are coming up directly after this. There's an HTML session that will be in this room. For those of you that are more on the techie side and you want to see some really cool things with HTML5 and CSS3. There's also an SEO talk in the next room that will talk about optimizing your blog for search engines. So, of course, you know, if you want to drive more traffic to your site, you need to be listed pretty high in websites like Google, right? Yep. Okay. So you definitely want to check that one out. For those of you that are interested in Google stuff, gentleman standing in the back, Jason, he's going to be giving a talk about all things about Google later on today, so definitely check that out. Again, he'll be talking some more about Blogger. So we saw quite a bit about Tumblr. I know he's going to talk some more about Blogger. Some other events that are coming up is, as you can see on my shirt, it says .NET Valley. I'm actually the president of a technology user group that covers the area called .NET Valley. This is our website. So this is kind of like a little shameless plug. We're having an event that's very similar to this that we had this year, same location, same building, everything, called Tech Bash. And so we're going to be having this in spring 2013. We'll be talking about blogging, we'll be talking about SEO, we'll be talking about marketing, we'll be talking about other things in technology, hardware, software. It's an all things technology conference, so if you're really excited about technology and you like some of the really cool things, definitely come out. This past year we actually had someone who was able to show how within 5 minutes they were able to create an application that they were able to deploy to their mobile phone to fly a helicopter. So some really cool stuff that you'll be able to see at that event. There's also a conference that's really heavy in blogging that's on October 2nd. I know that's really coming up. It's the Pennsylvania Conference for Women down in Philadelphia. Definitely check that out for those of you who really want to learn more about blogging, especially within our area. And then the largest blogging conference is Blog World Expo. And this is going to be coming back to New York City in 2013. I believe they still have another event this year that will be in Las Vegas in November, but their website is blogworldexpo.com. Some quick info about me. There's my website, there's my email address, there's my Twitter. So if you guys want to follow me, send me an email, check out my website, my blog, by all means, definitely check it out. Trying to think what else before we move on to questions that we haven't covered. One other thing while Jason's in the back of the room, now I'm thinking about Google, is one of the things we didn't mention when we were talking about RSS feeds and when we were talking about the RSS term is a little while ago Google had acquired a company called FeedBurner. And so if you have an RSS feed, when you get it set up at any one of your blog sites, that RSS feed generally is static to that blog site. So let's say you switch and you want to switch from using WordPress over to Blogger, or you want to switch to using maybe this own blog engine that you created because you're this really super neat geek like me. Yeah, so if you do any of those really cool things, you can use an application like FeedBurner, and FeedBurner will take your RSS feed and consume it. And it will tell you how many people are actually reading your post on your feed and how many people are actually following your feed. So it gives you some pretty cool statistics. Furthermore, like Gallo was explaining this morning, you can monetize that feed. So you can plug in some Google advertisements. So when people are reading your feed, every now and then they'll see this little Google ad that will come across and be inserted in between posts. So you'll be able to start bringing in some money as people are clicking through to your blog. So definitely check that out as well.